So hello everybody, and I first wanted to introduce myself since I know some of you but not all of you, and so in agreement with the EMA, so we focus this presentation in knowing better each other in order to be able to interact in the best interest of the prevention and management of shortages in the patient interest. So maybe the presentation we'll do is slightly different from the previous ones. So to explain very briefly who I am and where I come from, so I will start from the bottom actually. So as you heard, my name is Charlotte Roffian. And I'm EU policy advisor for a French patient and consumer organization called France Asso Santé, which is an alliance of about 100 patient and healthcare users organization, which is 100% funded by the French state, French government. And actually, we've been a member of IFA for since 2010, so 13 years now. So we've always been a very active member of IFA, with which we have a strong collaboration, especially on medicines, and even more on shortages of medicines. Since French patient organization have started working on this topic in 2009, because it started to be a big issue at that time already in certain therapeutic area. And that's where French patient organization started working with the public institutions in order to develop a legislation on shortages. So that's the reason why I'm representing IFA here on this topic. So my candidature has been presented by IFA as an observer of the MSSG. I included my email address because actually my hope after this meeting is that we will be able to have more interactions and I'll be able to bring more and more your voices, your concerns to the MSSG, even if people who know me knows I'm always quite vocal, even too much for some people, and always trying to defend as much as possible patient and consumers' interest. Next slide, please. So I won't describe the role of the MSSG, which has been presented already briefly, and I will be glad to take questions on that if you have any. I just would like to be more hands-on and to explain how we interact, because I believe maybe it's something you cannot find online and which is of more interest. So we are just observers. We are not full members. Full members are mostly member states, the EMA and the European Commission. But I must say that even if we're observers, the space we have in order to ask questions, request information, and interact on any topics discussed within the MSSG is very appreciable. And from that point of view, that's extremely useful because we have all the possibility to voice patient concerns on shortages. So just even if I don't present the activities of the MSSG, you know that MSSG intervenes in the management, mostly intervenes in the prevention and management of shortages at your level in case of health crisis situation, let's put it this way. So what is a bit more complicated for me, and that's something I already raised, and I take the opportunity to raise it again here because I believe that's the right place, is that so we deal with confidential information. Obviously, we have a confidentiality agreement. but it's not completely clear to me all the time what is confidential and what I can discuss and share with other PCWP members, because obviously that's for me complicated to bring your voice if topics cannot be discussed. So that's something maybe a point for the discussion also. We are not part of the SPOC working group, working parties, excuse me, which is an important, very important group working on shortages at so shortages which have a dimension beyond just one member state, so which includes several member states, critical shortages, but we are informed about what is being done in the SPOC working parties, which is extremely important because they deal with lots of, shortages, but for instance, the shortage of antibiotics, which was not considered as a major event, but was still a huge issue, was dealt there. Thrombolytics also, and there's a full list of shortages, all those shortages which are mentioned on the EMA website, which are discussed and solved as much as possible in this group. So that's extremely important, and we get lots of interaction, discussion around it. So the official role of the MSSG is smaller right now because there are no more public health emergency, official public health emergency, because COVID is not considered as such anymore, and the monkeypox is not considered as such anymore either. But it doesn't mean that we're working less, because actually there are huge, huge topics discussed and huge activities, which are the development of a list of critical medicines at EU level, which is of high importance, and also the development of the solidarity mechanisms, which is of high importance too. We also still discuss, obviously, about development of new vaccines, again, COVID and these kind of things. So I said the MSSG is working on the list of critical medicines, and so the last point maybe I would like to raise is that most of you, I'm sure, have read the pharma package legislation with the regulation directive, especially the regulation, which has a full list of articles and a full chapter on the prevention of shortages and securing supply of medicines in the EU. And we don't know exactly how the regulation will be adopted, what will be the final wording, but clearly the role of the MSSG will probably become bigger in future in the prevention and the management of shortages. So I guess our role will be also increased, but we don't really know exactly what will be the role of observers in this next potential phase. Thank you, and sorry for being a bit long.
Thank you very much. And we are giving the floor to Piera.
Good morning to everybody. Can you hear me well? Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
So I'm Piera Polidori, board member of the European Association of Hospital Pharmacy. So can I get the next slide, please? So in my association, I'm the director of the education development. I'm an hospital pharmacist, director of 2 hospital pharmacy in 3 hospitals in Palermo, in Sicily. With the European Association of Hospital Pharmacists, I was engaged in a lot of activities in preventing the drug shortages. So at the moment, I am the voice of HCPWP in MSSG, but as previously Charlotte represented very well, I had sometimes some difficulty to be engaged, and my comments were not very well included, and probably it was because our rule, my rule in this MSG, it's only as invited observer. I thought I'm ideal every day with drug shortages, and my knowledge is very high because I am in the front line to manage the drug shortages for my patient in my hospital. Next slide, please. So during this period, as invited observer in the MSSG, there were a lot of activity made by this MSSG. So there was an updating of the shortages of antibiotics. This was very important. And it was created a Solidarity Mechanism Working Group. So this is a group of country members, especially from the regulatory agency, and their goal is to support the other countries in case of critical shortages. This group was set up in July 2023. So at the moment it's very young, so we will see what this group will produce to reduce the criticism in case of drug shortages. Another important work was the goal to achieve the European shortages management platform implementation for February 2025. This platform, it's very important to have information about drug shortages also with the national country. And the last important activity was the production of the list of critical medicine, especially the list for COVID, as Charlotte mentioned before. In this case, my association proposed several drugs to include in this list, but only part of our suggestion were included. So, as Charlotte, I believe that this group will become more important as we have a lot of more experience in drug shortages, but our rule as observer remain a little bit limited. So I hope in the future to have better possibility to give more suggestion. So thank you very much.